HOA president banned my kids' basketball hoop, so I ran for the board and won. And now I genuinely don't know what I've gotten myself into. So this started maybe 8 months ago. My son is 11 and pretty obsessed with basketball, like it's the one thing he actually gets excited about, since we moved to this neighborhood two years ago. We had this portable hoop in the driveway, nothing crazy, the kind with the base you fill with water. He and the neighbor kids would use it after school maybe 3 or 4 times a week. We get a letter in the mail from the HOA, not an email, an actual letter, saying the hoop violates Section 4. 2.1 of the community guidelines because it's a semi-permanent structure visible from the street. I looked up 4.2.1. It says nothing about basketball hoops specifically. It's about like sheds and pergolas. I emailed the HOA president, this guy named Dennis, asking for clarification. He responded pretty quickly, actually, which I respected, but the response was basically just, the board has discretion to interpret the guidelines as necessary and that I had 30 days to remove it. I went to the next HOA meeting. I had my laptop. I had printed out the actual bylaw. I had pictures of 3 other houses in the neighborhood with hoops that were still up. Dennis just kind of stared at me and said those situations were being reviewed on a case-by-case basis. When I asked what criteria they used for the cases, he changed the subject. I moved the hoop into the backyard. My son barely uses it back there because there's no room to actually play, and honestly, the whole point was shooting around with the kids from the street. And then I found out there was a board seat opening up. One of the members was moving. I genuinely almost didn't do it. My wife thought I was being petty, and she's probably not wrong, but I also just kept thinking about Dennis's face when he changed the subject, and I don't know, something about it bothered me. I ran. There were 2 of us for 1 open seat. The other person was a woman named Carol who has lived here for like 20 years and I think genuinely just wanted to be on the board for normal reasons. I felt a little bad about that part. I won by 11 votes. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Being on the HOA board is genuinely a lot of work, and most of it has nothing to do with basketball hoops or Dennis or anything I was actually upset about. In the last 2 months, I have had to have opinions about the contract renewal for the landscaping company, whether to repave the east parking lot now or wait until spring, a noise complaint involving a dog that barks at 6 a.m., and a very long email chain about whether the holiday lights on the entrance sign are inclusive enough. I did bring up the basketball hoop policy at my first meeting. I made the case that the language in 4.2.1 didn't actually cover portable sports equipment, and that we should either clarify it explicitly or drop the enforcement. Dennis looked annoyed, but 2 of the other 3 board members agreed with me, and we voted to add a specific carve-out for portable equipment under a certain height. So technically I won. My son's hoop is back in the driveway. But now I'm on the board until the next election cycle, which is apparently 18 months away. And Dennis keeps sending me documents to review. And last week someone emailed me directly at 10:30 p.m. about a fence dispute between 2 neighbors on Clover Lane. I don't know. The hoop thing worked out. Everything else is a lot.